Bosh, Security Escort, Network, System Directories, and Network Address. Okay, in this screen we're going to set up either the master to look at the slave, or the slave to look at the master, or a workstation to look at the slave and master. Where it says master's network address and slave's network address, we only support IPv4. You would also put in the port number, which by default we recommend 4561. Under master database path, and we are the master computer as illustrated right here, and also the learn address here. Don't use the learn address if you have IPv6 turned on in your computer. The remote control listening port 4562 is utilized by workstations to communicate to the master or slave database appropriately. Under the master database path, you would put in the path to the security escort, which should be C:\escort. Your slave database would be a shared folder. Now, when talking about shared folders, you need to make sure that your permissions are correct. So, I kind of leave this up to the network administrators to fight over how they choose to do it. But if I have to recommend anything, I would recommend that if Security Escort is running on a computer by itself, that all of the Escort computers, let it be master, slave, or workstation, all have the same username and login to log into the computer. This bypasses a lot of access rights into logging into other computers to view files. If this is not an option, that is okay. When you share the folder, make sure that you share the folder to everyone and allow everyone read-write access. If that is not acceptable, that is also okay. You can use the user list to make sure that all of the users have the correct access to those folders. It all depends on how detailed you want to get with restricting access to these files. But you would have this as a map drive. So let's just go ahead and put it in a map drive. And I usually, from the master computer, I suggest having a map drive of S to look at the escort folder on the slave computer. This way it makes kind of a lot more sense when looking at the screen. It says S:\for slave. Auto backup to the slave database, I highly suggest. Then you have the image path folder, and these are JPEG images, but these are for the images to assign to subscribers. Auto synchronized time is also one that I highly suggest after you have these settings set up correctly. With these values, obviously, are changeable depending on how your network is set up. Go ahead and hit save. Bosh, Security Escort, Network, System Directories, and Network Address. If setting this up for a slave computer, you would put in the master's computer, you would put in your slave computer. Your master database path would be a map drive to the master computer escort folder, and I would suggest using M:\. The slave database path would be the local drive, C:\escort, leaving the checkbox auto backup to slave database. The subscriber image file would also be the master database folder, and that would just be M:\images \\. At which point then you would hit save. Because I'm only using one computer, the slave computer stays as a slave until it cannot connect to the master. and then it starts taking over the master's role and literally changes its name to master. If the master computer was actually connected to where this says master computer would say slave. Bosh, security escort. After the slave computer starts communicating to the master computer, as I indicated in a previous video, the slave computer would take over the slave name and show you one network connection.